Hey guys, today for the review we have the ALIENTEK Oscilloscope Multimeter. We received this oscilloscope multimeter from the ALIENTEK company to make a review. It's the ALIENTEK 3-in-1 handheld oscilloscope, multimeter, and signal generator. Let's start with the unboxing. It comes with a user manual, a Type-C cable for charging the multimeter, an oscilloscope probe, a tiny screwdriver for adjusting the probe, a crocodile clip probe, an oscilloscope multimeter, press and hold the power button to turn on the multimeter. On startup, the display shows the option to select the multimeter, oscilloscope, signal generator, and settings. It also comes with the multimeter probe leads. The leads are thin and narrow, great for working on tiny electronics. The back of the unit includes a kickstand designed to angle the display for easier viewing. Remove the protective caps. Plug the black probe into the COM port and the red probe into the voltage resistance port. Attach the needlepoint tip to the multimeter probe. Attach the protective cap over the tip to keep it protected. This is a 3.5-inch touchscreen. Press multimeter to go into the multimeter mode. I'll test out the multimeter a little bit later. Press menu to go back to the menu option. Press oscilloscope to go into the oscilloscope mode. I will also test out the oscilloscope. Press signal to go into the signal generator mode. Press settings to go into the settings mode. The language menu allows you to select the language. The power menu allows you to adjust when the screen dims or when this unit shuts down. The Start Page menu allows you to set the default screen when you turn on this unit. The Volume menu allows you to adjust the backlight and volume. The Other Settings menu allows you to select other options such as Factory Reset. The Device menu shows the model and version of this unit. Now it's time to test out the multimeter. Let's begin by testing the voltage of this AA battery. Touch the probe leads to the battery terminals. The reading shows around 1.5 volts, which is expected. The trend chart displays measurement data in 160 milliseconds, 320 milliseconds, or 640 milliseconds intervals. The next test is to measure AC voltage. I have a power strip plugged into a wall outlet. I'll plug the probe leads into the sockets. A 120 volt reading matches the standard voltage you'll find in most US household outlets. The next test is to measure the current of this simple circuit. Press the current button to switch to the current measurement mode. Move the red probe from the voltage resistance port to the current port. With a single current port, this multimeter removes the hassle of switching between amp and milliamp ports. Press the current button again to switch from DC to AC mode. Press it again to switch from AC mode to reading both DC and AC. Touch the probe leads to the leg of the resistor and LED. The reading shows around 22 milliamps, which is typical for a red LED. The next test is to measure resistance of this 4.7 kilo ohm resistor. Press the resistance button to switch to the resistance measurement mode. Move the red probe from the current port to the voltage resistance port. Touch the probe leads to the terminals of the resistor. The reading shows around 4.7 kilo ohm, which is what we expected. The next test is to measure the capacitance of this 0.1 microfarad capacitor. Press the capacitance button to switch to the capacitance measurement mode. The reading shows around 112 nanofarad, which is what we expected. The next test is to measure the resistance of this 1N4148 fast-switching diode. Press the diode button to switch to the diode measurement mode. The reading shows a voltage drop of around 0.6 volts. The next test is to measure continuity of this alligator clip. Press the continuity button to switch to the continuity measurement mode. We hear a beep, so there is continuity. The next test is to measure the frequency of this power strip. Press the frequency button to switch to the frequency measurement mode. The reading comes out to 60 Hz, the common electrical frequency used in nearly all US household circuits. The next test is to measure the temperature of this cup of cold water. Insert the K-type thermocouple to the unit. The negative terminal connects to the black COM port. The positive terminal connects to the red voltage resistance port. Press the temperature button to switch to the temperature measurement mode. The reading shows around 16 degrees Celsius. Now it's time to test out the signal generator. On top of the unit, there are 3 ports. On the left is the Type-C port for charging the device. On the middle is the signal generator port. On the right is the oscilloscope port. Insert the oscilloscope probe into the oscilloscope port. Insert the crocodile clip probe into the signal generator port. Attach the red crocodile clip to the tip of the oscilloscope probe. Attach the ground clip to the black crocodile clip. Press the signal button. All the default settings seem fine. Press the oscilloscope button. Switch the probe from X1 to X10. Use the provided screwdriver to make adjustments until the displayed square wave has sharp, flat edges. Now it's time to check out the oscilloscope. Press the oscilloscope button. Insert the oscilloscope probe into the oscilloscope port. Insert the ground clip to the negative terminal of the battery. Insert the probe tip to the positive terminal. Keep increasing the vertical scale until you're at 5 volts. When you touch the oscilloscope tip to the positive terminal, the wave should jump to around 9 volts. When I reverse the polarity, the wave jumps to about negative 9 volts. I have a circuit of flashing LEDs. Let's see if we can find the forward voltage of this red LED. I'm going to adjust the vertical scale to 1 volt. The reading is roughly 2 volts, matching the typical forward voltage range of a red LED. You're getting a multimeter, an oscilloscope, and a signal generator all in one device, and it's still lightweight and extremely portable. The plastics feel solid. The protective cover is sturdy. The touchscreen is very handy, especially in the oscilloscope mode. One thing I really like is the 1 amp jack. No swapping leads between amps and milliamps. The multimeter is loaded with features such as capacitance measurement and temperature measurement, which isn't available in many other multimeters. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing for more electronics tips and tutorials, and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.